We can take whatever lessons that maybe we've learned and we apply all those things into the future, into this new year, new possibilities, new opportunities. And my whole life, I've really, since age 14, understood a little bit about goal setting and about making sure I write down new goals every year and continuously throughout the year. And so today my topic is to speak about goal setting, to describe to you what I think are the key parts of setting goals and how they work in your life, how to make them work in your life, because I've had this happen so many times for me in my life. Okay, so everybody's got 700,000 hours, okay? 700,000. 700,000 hours in the average life. If you live to about 79 years of age, average between men and women, you got about 700,000 hours. Now that might seem like a ton of hours, maybe almost unlimited number of hours. Believe me, you don't have any hours to waste. That's how I feel. I want to squeeze all I can out of those 700,000 hours. In fact, I want to try to get about 800,000 if I can. You know, I love life. My life's incredible. I've got an amazing spouse, an amazing family, and I just want to keep enjoying this business, all of you, New Skin, and our family. So that's what I want to do. Let's talk about how people spend those 700,000 hours, okay? So, number one, people spend about 8 hours a day sleeping. A lot of people do. That would be 233,000 hours in your life staring at the back of your eyelids. That seems like a lot of time to kind of stare at the back of your eyelids, doesn't it? When I was younger, I'd sleep probably 4 hours a day on average because I was just too excited about life. I just couldn't sleep much longer than that. And then I got to 5 hours, and now I'm at about 6 hours. So the older I get, I'm sleeping a little more. But you know what? I think you can accomplish a lot of things. Maybe you don't have to sleep as much as you're sleeping. Just give it some thought. Do what's good for your health, but don't waste time laying around and sleeping if you don't need to. Okay, it's just something that's wasting time. Okay, another group of people will spend about a third of their life working, about 8 hours a day working for somebody else, working somebody else's dream, back and forth to work and home every day, and they spend their third of their life doing that. Some people watch TV 4 hours a day. If you do that, you'll spend 116,000 hours of your life watching television. Now, I don't know about you, but I think television makes you dumber. I think it is like insulting to your intelligence. And so I wouldn't watch TV at all. I watch TV personally 3 minutes a day. 3 minutes every day. And that's when I watch the weather during the news broadcast. And why do I only want to watch the weather? Because it's the only part of the news that talks about the future. Everything else is the past. And I don't care about the past because I can't change anything in the past. And I don't really need to hear about all the murders and this and that, okay? I just want to focus on the future, and I'm a pilot, so I want to see what the weather's going to be and if it's going to be a good day to fly or whatever, right? So think about the future. There's no PV in TV, right? There's no volume. You have no time to watch TV. If you're in the building mode of your New Skin business, you need to turn it off. And if you can't control yourself, you take it out of your house. Okay? And you set a good example and don't let your kids sit in front of the TV and waste their life. And so you get rid of it. You start changing the way you spend your time and how you look at it. Okay? All right, so everybody's got 700,000. What are you going to do with yours? You've got 700,000 if you're average. Don't waste it. What do you want to do with it? Well, the way you make it very effective is you start to set goals. You decide what's important and you start to set goals. All right? This is something that's really important as part of saying, how am I going to make the most out of these 700,000 hours? It is to surround yourself with people that also want to use their 700,000 hours in really productive ways. And so you will become the average of your 5 closest friends. And if your 5 closest friends are not progressing in their life, or they're engaging in activities that are destructive, either emotionally or mentally, physically, spiritually, then you got to get away from those people. Okay, you've got to surround yourself with people that are good people, that want to accomplish things, that are motivated, that see the future bright. They see the glass half full, not half empty, right? And this is especially important for your kids. So what's the best way to show your children who they ought to be hanging out with? It's not with you hanging out with drug addicts. That's not a good way to show them who to hang out with, right? It's with you making sure they see that you're surrounding yourself positive, motivated people that have a goal in life. They've got a target. They know where they're going. They're not just out there going back and forth every day and drifting along and letting the wind blow their ship wherever the wind wants to blow them. You know, that's not what you want to be part of. So be careful about who you associate with, and if those people you're associating with now don't fit the bill, then change them. Change them. And someone may say, hey, what's the matter? You think you're too good for us now? You don't want to hang out with us anymore? Just say, well, I've decided I'm changing my life. I'm changing my future, and so yeah, I'm not going to hang out with you anymore unless you guys want to change as well. Okay? All right. So one of my favorite quotes is this. I don't know who the author is. I came across this, a long time ago in my life. It says, the greatest loss in life is the difference between human potential versus actual performance. I'll say that one more time. The greatest loss in life is the difference between human potential, what we're capable of accomplishing, versus what we actually accomplish. Most of you in this audience, and I'm going to include myself in this, are operating at about 20% of our capacity. We could probably, in this room, all of us do probably 5 times better than what we're doing right now. And the way we do that is we decide what those things are. We set goals around those areas, and then we discipline ourselves to be consistent in accomplishing those things and accomplishing those goals. A long time ago, I had a distributor who said to me, man, how do you do it? You seem to take on so many things, How do you do these things and do them well? Well, first of all, you be careful about what you take on. You don't just take on anything. You don't make commitments lightly. But when you make a commitment, you make a plan, and you be consistent about it so that you can accomplish it, right? I have found that the human brain has pretty huge potential. You can learn a lot of things, and you can actually do more things. Have you ever heard the saying that if you want something done, ask a busy person to do it? It's because they're equipped with the right skill set, the right attitudes, and the right ability to focus, that if they commit to it, they'll get it done. And you can find people that don't have those skill sets, and they'll say they'll do stuff, but they'll never do it. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the people that say to you, I don't have any time to do new skin. Say, good, you're my kind of person. I'm too busy. That's right. And you'll always be that way. So you need to be in this business. That's why you need to do it. So first of all, get a clear vision about what you want in your life. What do you really want? What do you want to accomplish? If you come to events like these events we had last weekend in California and this weekend here in Fort Lauderdale, hopefully you are seeing people on a stage that have done what you hope to do. Hopefully you identify with those people in some way. There's some characteristic, something about their background that is similar to your background, something about their experience they had or their challenges they overcame. Something resonates with you, and you realize, if that person can do it, I know I can do it. And you start to gain the confidence. You start to get a clear vision about you being able to actually do this business and do it in a way that is significant, right? So give serious thought to what you want. And then the next thing you got to do is, once you know what you want, you got to write them down. And you've heard a goal not written is only a wish, and there's never a truer statement. You can sit there and think about your goals all day long. That is not going to get it done. You have to write them down. When I was young, 14 years of age, I found out about goal setting. My father had a master's degree. My mother had a college degree, first people in their families to do this. And so these people are smart people and so forth, but they never spoke to me and my siblings about setting goals. They never even really spoke about being successful. They would say, yeah, you want to go to college. But that was like it. There was no conversation about really setting goals and achieving things and, doing whatever you want to do, that you can do whatever you want to do in your life. And I got a little bit of that from my mother, but nothing from my dad along those lines. And so I found this book called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. I recommend, if you don't have that, you read that book. This is clear back in the 1920s. This guy was like one of those outside-the-box thinkers. You know what he said in his book? He said, your mind is like a garden. He said, you got to be careful what you plant in your mind, because that's what's going to grow, and that's what you're going to harvest. So be careful what you plant in your mind. He came up with the concept where he said the great thing about human beings that's different than any other form of life on this planet is human beings can reason, they can create. They can create the future in their mind before it's ever created in reality. And that's how every great thing happens, doesn't it? It's created in somebody's mind first, and then it becomes reality as they work towards that vision. And so that's exactly how it happens. And he said that a person can change their future by changing their thoughts. Write that down. A person can change their future by changing their thoughts. That's where it all starts, right there. And so you've got to write them down. When I first learned about goal setting, it seemed like magic to me. I got my hands on an audio tape by a guy named Paul J. Meyer from the Success Motivation Institute in Waco, Texas. I can still hear the twang in his voice. Waco, Texas, right? I played that tape probably 50 times. I listened to it over and over again. He talked about writing it down, reading it every day, and it would absolutely happen as you work towards it. And to me, it was like magic. I thought, really? That's it? That's how you change your life? That's all it takes to do that? And I remember writing down my goals. You know, over my life, I've pasted my goals on my bathroom mirror. I've always had them right in front of my phone where I make most of my phone calls every day. Nowadays, you can put them on your screensaver on your cell phone, right? They should be everywhere. When I started Nu Skin, I wrote down 3 really big goals, crazy goals. And I put them on a goal sheet and I slipped them inside a clear plastic cover on the top of a 3-ring binder. And so I could see it every day. When I'd go to give somebody a pitch about Nu Skin with my little flip chart, I'd pull that out and I'd see those 3 goals right there. So every day I'm reading those goals like 10 times, 20 times a day. I burned them in my brain. I programmed my subconscious mind to do nothing but focus on achieving those goals, all right? So if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there, right? That's why you got to be clear. It's like you're just drifting without a destination. You're the ship without a rudder. The wind is blowing you wherever it wants to blow you. You need to decide where you're going to go and throw your rudder in the water and take that ship where you want your life to go. And that's exactly how you do it. The Dominican University actually did this study about those who write down their goals accomplish significantly more than people who never write them down. And it's something like 95-5. Like the 5% of the people that write down goals accomplish more than the 95% who never write down anything. So you need to write down goals. And I write them in 5 areas of my life. I write down spiritual goals. I write down physical goals about my health. I write down financial goals. And they probably ought to be written in that order of importance. I write down mental and emotional goals. And I write down social goals, okay? Related to friends and relationships and so forth. Those are the areas I set goals in every year. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, I took a day and I gave a lot of thought, like what am I going to accomplish in 2016? And I wrote down 2 pages of things that I'm working on this year. Those play into my lifetime goals that I wrote when I was 31 years of age. I wrote my goals for age 90, what I wanted my life to be like at age 90. And I'm just working towards that ever so consistently, right? And it happens. All right, so the key with this goal setting and writing it down and reading it every day is you program your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is actually the most powerful supercomputer in the world. It records everything you've ever seen, you've ever done, experiences, smells, tastes, touches, thoughts, words, vision, everything your eyes have seen. All that stuff is recorded in your subconscious mind. It becomes your database. That's your go-to database to solve these problems that you present to your subconscious mind. And the way you present them is you write your goals as if they are accomplished. And you can say, at the end of 2016, I will be a blue diamond. I am a blue diamond in Nu Skin. I've accomplished this kind of an organization. I'm making this much money every month. It has changed my life in these ways. And you write it down as if it's already happened. Well, it hasn't happened yet. So there's a gap between what you're reading in your goal and what your reality is. And guess what your subconscious mind does every day when you program it by reading those goals every day? It puts every single effort it can on closing that gap and trying to bring your life, your reality, closer to what you're telling it's already done. Does that make sense? That's exactly what happens, okay? If you have filled your subconscious mind with garbage your whole life, there's not a lot to go to in that database to try to close that gap. And that's why it's really important about what you watch, what you read, how you think, okay? Who you associate with. If you're associating with people that are just not cutting it, they're going to be filling your mind with this kind of empty database that's not going to be valuable to you. You've got to make sure that you have great information going in your brain. I mentioned last week that I just got finished reading the autobiography of Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart. And I was so inspired reading that book. I couldn't put it down because it was just this entrepreneur who has this dream that he wants to make happen. And you listen to how it happened and all the obstacles that occurred and what they did to make that business work. And it made me so energized. I'm like, okay, I'm inspired. I want to do that. You need to be reading great books. You need to have that on your list. OTG publishes a great book list, a book of the month. You need to dig into that stuff. That's not done lightly, There's a lot of thought that goes into it. Will this help you achieve things you need to achieve in your new skin business? And so make sure you're doing that. Okay, so I just talked about this. Everything's recorded. Focus on the good, eliminate the bad, right? If you're doing pornography and you're reading, salacious garbage novels and you're filling your mind with all this crap, you are not going to get the information you need to make good decisions, to be inspired, to be motivated, to be looking for how you're going to change your life. It's counteracting, what you need to be doing. So whatever you got to do, guys, eliminate the bad, focus on the good, and your life is going to change, right? You change your thoughts, you will change your future, and that is for sure. Okay, this is an unknown path. Does anybody in this room know exactly what's going to happen between here and Team Elite? Does anybody in this room know who the 15 executives are going to be on your front line to make you a Team Elite?
No.
Well, guess what? I didn't know either the day I wrote down the goal. All I knew is I wanted to be a Team Elite, right? Some people get stalled out in setting goals because they think they have to know every step of the way to their goal. It's impossible. You will never know every step of the way. And what that means is then they don't set goals, and then they don't program their subconscious mind, and then they don't accomplish anything. That's like saying, I want to go down to the mall to go shopping. There's a lot of stores down there. That would be really pleasurable. I want to get to the mall. But I'm not going to leave my house until all the lights are green between here and the mall. That's what it's like saying, okay? Well, you're never going to leave your house because the lights aren't going to be all green all the way to the mall every time, right? Rarely. And so what you have to realize is you're going to have a red light. You're going to have a yellow light. You might have road construction. You might have a detour. You might have to go way out of your way and then get back on course to ultimately get to your goal, to your destination, right? And so just realize that. It's not important that you don't know how you're going to do it, okay? That's to be expected. It is an unknown path. It doesn't matter. It is absolutely immaterial. It's irrelevant what the path is. The path will show up as you set that goal and you program the subconscious mind. It'll end up closing that gap, and you'll figure out, maybe you got to go through it, under it, over it, around it, but you'll figure out how to actually get there. So, read those goals daily, right? As you do that, you suggest to your subconscious mind the reality that is the culmination of that goal. And it is so powerful to be able to do this. And it's so exciting because you realize you've got this amazing tool in your toolkit, your toolbox, that can help you accomplish anything. All right, I want to tell you a personal story. It's about a 3x5 card. This is a 3x5 recipe card that I took out of my mother's recipe box when I was 15 years old. So age 14, I get this book, As a Man Thinketh. I start to expand my mind. I'm thinking, okay, I got to change my thoughts. I get this audio tape, Paul J. Meyer, Success Motivation Institute, and I start listening to his stuff, and I'm like, this is magic, And then I've always had this goal to play football. And I was a skinny kid, and my father would say, it's a stupid sport. You can't play. I'm not going to let you play. You're going to get hurt, and you'll hate it the rest of your life. And he would never let me play. My dream team was the Minnesota Vikings with Alan Page and Carl Eller and all those guys. Anybody remember those people? The fearsome foursome, right? That was my whole deal, man. I love those guys. I wore purple jerseys to school. I was like a Minnesota Viking fan to the max. I wanted to play football. Every day my father, you're not going to play, you're not going to play, you're not going to play. Well, I ran into two guys at a youth recreation facility near my home. This is where they let kids come and play basketball and work out and do boxing, so they keep them off the streets. So I go into this facility, and these two guys take me under their wing, and they say, you want to play football? okay, you're going to have to put on a lot of weight, okay? Okay, we're going to teach you how to do this, and we're going to start you on a program. Are you willing to commit to do everything we say? And I'm thinking in my mind, well, yeah, I can write down goals. I know how to do this. I can commit, and I'll write down what I want to accomplish, right? So it's fortuitous these things are all coming together at the same time. So I start going down there, and they're putting me on this workout program. I'm lifting weights, you know, chest and back on Mondays, shoulders and arms Tuesdays, legs and abs on Wednesdays, and then repeat Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. The first week, I thought I was going to die. I was so sore. I mean, I couldn't even move. It just killed the mood. But I thought, I can't quit. I just got to stick with it. And I just kept sticking with it. They said to me, you got to eat everything in sight. Like when you go home, you're like a vacuum cleaner. You vacuum up food. You just suck that food in as fast as you can because you got to gain weight. At that point in my life, when I started, I was 6 feet 1 inches tall. I weighed 120 pounds. I was so skinny, I had to jump on the mat at the grocery store to get the door to open. Right? I was skinny. And my dad's right, you're going to get killed, you know, you do this for it. So I realized I got to put on weight. So I start eating like everything. 3 months goes by, I'm growing out of my pants. My pants are getting tight, my butt's getting bigger, my shoulders and chest is getting bigger. We come from a family where my parents work for the government. We don't have any money. And my dad goes, that's it. I'm not buying you any more clothes, so I'm going to put on your plate what you get to eat every night. So he starts rationing my dinner every night. He's giving me what? There you go. There's Nathan's. Everybody else can eat what you want. There's Nathan's. And so I'm not going to let that stop me, right? And so my friends say, you need to like drink protein. You got to get protein. They said, go down to this health food store. This is like 45 years ago or something, right? I mean, nobody had protein really in those days, so I got to go all the way down to this store. I get this stinky casein protein. Just stinks in a big jug of it. I'm taking all my savings, all my allowance to buy this stuff. I buy a blender at Kmart, and I stash it in my coach's office because I knew my dad didn't, you know, want me to eat more, so I couldn't do it at home. So I use my coach's refrigerator. I swing by Safeway every Monday morning on the way to school. I buy 3 gallons of milk. I buy 5 dozen eggs. And I've got this stuff in my coach's fridge. I eat for breakfast what my father will give me. I go to high school. I get in my coach's office. I take 2 cups of milk, like 3 scoops of this stinky protein powder, 6 raw eggs, crack them in there. I blend up this yellow goo that is so stinky and like rank. And I just hold my nose and chug it out of the blender. My stomach's revolting. It's like, And I'm just like, keep it down, keep it down, keep it down. Okay, good. Now you can go to class. I go to class, school lunch shows up, lunchtime, I eat 2 to 3 school lunches every day. After school, I go work out, I'm lifting my weights, doing my program, back to the coach's office, 2 more cups of milk, 6 raw eggs, 2 scoops of oil, blend it up, chug it, hold it down, don't barf, go home, act like I'm hungry. My father, here's your dinner. Thanks, Dad. I wait for him to go in the living room and start reading the newspaper. He's like this in his newspaper. I sneak down into the kitchen. He can't hear me. I get in the refrigerator and vacuum up the rest of the stuff, right? That was my life. And I just kept growing against my dad's wishes. My friends say, you need more protein. I'm like, serious? I'm drinking like a dozen eggs a day. I need more protein? They go, yeah, get some tuna fish for late at night, right before you go to bed. Eat tuna fish. And so I go to Safeway. I buy these case lots of tuna fish. I hide them under my bed. I'm sneaking them in my house when my dad gets home. I hide them under my bed in my upstairs bedroom, right? I've got a can opener right behind my 3x5 card that I'm writing my goals on, okay? I open the tuna fish, chicken of the sea. I squeeze the oil on the shingles outside my window. My dad says, if I catch you with more food, you're in trouble. I squeeze it out there, you know. I eat the tuna fish. I have to learn to throw left-handed because my room's on that end of the house. I take the lid, stick it in the can, and I wing it in the neighbor's lilac bush. True story. And that worked great until winter came. And the leaves fell off the lilac bush. And I'm working with my dad in the yard one Saturday. He goes, what's with these neighbors? What a bunch of bums. Look at this. They chucked all these cans in their bush. I'm sitting there, yeah, they're bums, that's right. I mean, I wasn't going to tell him anything, right? He looks up at my roof. He goes, what's that huge oil spot on your shingles? I don't know, Dad, something's going on around here. And that's what I did. During my high school, I grew so fast, my coach called me his plant. I put on over 100 pounds in high school.
Ooh.
So I went to more than 220 pounds, so that's what I used to look like right there. There you go. Can you imagine? I kind of look the same. Got the same hair. Kind of. Okay? Now listen, that tie right there, I know how to tie a tie. See? It's supposed to touch your belt. I got that. Okay? That's because my neck was 22 inches. So I couldn't find shirts that fit, and my tie stubs were right here. I mean, believe me, I tied that as long as I could tie it. That's not my girlfriend, that's my sister. I could not get a girlfriend at that time in my life. And so there I am again with my mother. That's when I weighed about 250 pounds with a few other friends who thought they were big. They called me No Neck Nate because I didn't have a neck. It just went from my ears to my shoulders. True story. Now I show you these pictures just to make a point, okay? When I finished playing football, I decided I don't need to carry all this around. I don't want to end up like 500 pounds like all these retired, NFL linemen. And so I decided I'm going to lose it. What did I do? I set a whole bunch of new goals. I followed them every day, and I just dumped the weight. And I have made that plan my whole life, basically, right? Here's a great quote from Leonardo da Vinci. If you got goals set and you hit any obstacles, which everybody will hit obstacles. Obstacles cannot crush me. Every obstacle yields to stern resolve. That's consistency. He who is fixed to a star does not change his mind. You don't change your mind. In this business, if your goal is team elite, if that's your star you're fixed to, you don't change your mind. You focus on it and you go do it, no matter what, right? I had a goal I wrote down years ago. I found these goals 20 years later when I moved houses. I looked at these goals I wrote 20 years earlier. I had been able to accomplish every goal except one. It was that one. And a few years after that, since I reminded myself what it was, I decided I'm going to be a pilot, and I bought that airplane, and I wanted to fly my own plane. And in less than 45 minutes, I'll be in the air in this plane going back home. And it is remarkable the freedom, the control of your life you feel when you can just say, let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go have lunch in Los Angeles. Let's go over here. It is unbelievable, okay? I love flying. I love the freedom that it gives me. And I've accomplished these goals, and I've done it by writing them down. That's one of our Blue Diamond guys that I lost touch with, and we went for a flight the other day. All right. This is how change happens, and I'll close with this, okay? Remember what James Allen said? You can change your future by changing your thoughts. Listen, watch your thoughts. They become your words. You think something enough, you will eventually verbalize it. You'll start talking about it, okay? Watch your words, they become your actions. You start to repeat those words over and over again, eventually you'll do it. You'll act on it, okay? Watch your actions, because actions repeated over and over again become habits in our lives, right? And there's two kinds of habits, folks. There's habits that are the worst of masters or the best of servants. You can get yourself into habits that will end up owning you. You'll be a slave to those habits. Whether it's drugs or cigarettes or alcohol or porn or anything else that's addictive, okay? And they will destroy you. Or you can pick really good habits that'll serve you well. Instead of being a master of you, they'll be a servant for you. Okay? And you just think about the habits you can form in this business that'll serve you well for the rest of your life. Watch your habits. They become your character. You do those habits through the course of your life, that forms who you become. That becomes your character, and watch your character because it becomes your destiny. What are you going to leave behind? What are people going to remember you for? As someone who was positive and forward-looking and accomplished things and pushed the envelope and, lifted other people and brought a lot of other people along with them, surrounded themselves with great people, inspiring other people. I hope that's how you're remembered. I hope that's how I'm remembered. That's what I'm trying to do, okay? Get ready for the rest of your afternoon. You've got an amazing set of speakers coming right at you right now. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.